Whether you're selling life insurance on a face-to-face, belly-to-belly basis, or you're doing telesales, we're going to be covering a lot of information today, guys. And look, maybe you're new, maybe you've been doing it for a while, it doesn't matter. Maybe your expectations haven't been matched at whatever agency you're at. I don't know, maybe you're just at the wrong agency, right? That happens. Or running out of money for leads, right? You're having a hard time getting through the learning curve. That could be an issue too. Maybe you're feeling like, I want to say the training where you're at just isn't very good. Or maybe you're just in the research phase, trying to find a good insurance agency to start with. So before we get into the video, please give the video a thumbs up. And I do suggest subscribing if you're new. We talk all about life insurance, guys. The content is 100% life insurance, and we do a little bit of health and Medicare too. So in the video, I am going to address 8 very important things. So number 1, false information being spread on Facebook groups and other places online that's super misleading. Number 2, the negatives of life insurance sales, right? You never hear the cons from a recruiter. You only hear all the positive, how great stuff. So we're going to talk about those cons. Number 3, realistic expectations based on your budget and sales experience, and whether you decide to do this part-time or whether you're selling full-time. Number 4, the carriers. How many do you need? What's too much? What's not enough? Really a good target for which carriers you should be used, whether you're selling final expense, term, or universal life. Number 6, this is a sales and service relationship business. So we got to talk about that. Has to be addressed. Number 7, the renewals. How do they work? And for how long? And finally, number 8, the importance of having the right upline. That's, to me, that could be a game changer for a lot of you guys. So literally the difference between you having success or just completely failing. Stick around to the end of the video. I'm going to show you how to get both the telesales new agent super file and a pretty decent remote sales script. Now, to be honest, it's not the same script that I use for my agents. I can't share that with the public for certain reasons, but at the end of the day, this thing's pretty decent too. So let's jump into it and talk about some of this fake information, the fake news that you're seeing on Facebook groups and the insurance forums. So let me talk a little bit about the insurance forums. A lot of agents find they've got really high Google results. So when they're looking for help to sell life insurance or training, a lot of times they'll end up at the insurance forum. Let me assure you guys, the insurance forum, the primary people that are there have been there for years. They work together. They completely manipulate facts. You are going to see blatant manipulation at the highest level ever. My suggestion is, never go there again. Forget about the insurance forums. It's just too much fake news, and it's a lot of hate. You're going to notice how older agents that have been doing this for longer, that even have a better reputation, are just cruel. I mean, they're like nasty. They're so rude. So honestly, I got out of there years. For years, I was one of the people that gave advice, but it seemed like I would give a good piece of advice, and for every good piece of advice to a new agent I would get, there would be 3 fake things that were just misleading, designed for the recruiter who was trying to bring you in and the people that he was working with. So look, if you want to be manipulated, go to the insurance forums. I hate to say it, but with Facebook groups, a lot of that is the same. I don't think it's as bad, but with Facebook groups, I feel like it's more individual agency owners or recruiters who are trying to build their agency. They're manipulating things. They act like they've got these big agencies with all these great agents, and they literally have nothing going for them. So you'll see fake stuff like that, but I feel like it's more of like individuals trying to recruit you. So what they'll do is they will give you some value, but then the drawback is they're trying to manipulate you to come and join their multi-level marketing insurance group. That's a totally different video for itself. So let's talk about having realistic expectations based on your budget, how much money you've saved for your business, your personality. You know, are you the type of person who's like a business owner and you've owned businesses and that's just who you are, so you're going to be successful? or whether you're basically an employee. You know, you've come from an industry where you've been an employee most of your life. So you got to have realistic expectations about this, guys. With part-time agents, let me just jump in real quick and address this. The learning curve is going to be long. So there's a learning curve in life insurance sales. We all have a different learning curve. But I'm telling you, the one thing about being a part-time agent is you'll start to learn stuff, you'll sell. Months later, you'll run into a situation that you already learned, but because it's so rare for you, you'll already have forgotten how to deal with it the correct way, or the results. You know, if it's about a carrier or a product or something, you'll forget, oh, an underwriting, what do I do here? I remember there was something weird. That's the issue that you're going to have with being a part-time agent, which is why, honestly, the failure rate is so much higher with agents that are part-time. And yes, I know the multi-level marketing companies, they love to recruit part-timers, but beware, do your research if you're going to join one of these companies, because yeah, they'll take you. Yeah, they love to bring in new agents, but you're going to get a lot of misleading information, and they're not going to release you either. Sales experience is huge. You know, you can't have these unrealistic expectations. Well, yeah, I want to make at least $100,000 by my first year. And I'm only going to spend $500 a week on advertising. Like, this is all unrealistic. Oh, and I've never sold anything before in my life. Again, unrealistic. So that's why I say, you know, if you're like a business-oriented business owner and you know, hey, I've got $10,000 for my business, this should get me through the first few months, then you realistically, and you've got experience, the chances of you being successful are going to be a lot higher than the person who is just kind of playing it week to week, just kind of trying to like get through and be an average agent, which I hate to say, the average agent makes $50,000 a year. That's the struggle. So, you know, it really depends on your perception, your background, what you've done, and your budget. Again, I feel like at least having $3,000 to $5,000 to start a new business with life insurance sales, it can be as important as having $50,000 if you're opening up like a storefront. It's going to keep you in there for potentially months. Because remember, you know, as long as you get off to an okay start and you sell something right off the bat, even if there's no major profit involved in the beginning, at least you're getting through to the next week, getting better and better, cutting through the learning curve. Carriers. How many carriers do you need? What carriers do you need? Look, guys, if you're with a good upline, I'm not going to start naming carriers. I've got other videos you can find. If you Google me, you'll find like top 5 carriers of 2025. There's a video, I think that's probably what it's called, but you look on my YouTube channel, you'll see stuff like that. But honestly, to me, the trick, if you're selling life insurance products with final expense, you really want to have about 5 core carriers. With the way I do it, I recommend my agents contract with right around, I think we do 9 carriers. We've dropped a few. It was a little bit higher of a list. There were more carriers, but the way changes are constantly happening, I feel like, you know, that's not necessary. Now, here's the thing. What's inadvertently going to happen? Why 9 carriers? That's a lot. Yeah, it is. But you're going to try one carrier that I love, and you're not going to like it. And then you're going to try a carrier that maybe I don't like so much, and you're going to love them. That's why. So at the end of the day, there's really going to be 2 or 3 main core carriers that you really use most of the time. And then another 2 or 3 that maybe you'll use for rare situations, like as needed. That really is the way to do it. Let me be clear about one thing with the carriers. The more carriers you have, the more chargeback issues you're going to have. The fewer carriers you have, the fewer chargeback issues you're going to have. Look, guys, you're being advanced money that doesn't belong to you in life insurance sales. And there's a certain percentage of those people that are going to cancel. And I hate to say it, not to be negative, but the truth is, it seems like when you need a really good sale the most and you make it, that's the one that's usually going to cancel. So the more carriers you have, not necessarily the better. You really need to get it down to that maybe 3 to 5 core carriers. Speaking of chargebacks, so different carriers have different chargeback rules. So let me give you 2 extremes. Americo recently announced that if your client doesn't make Now I'm going on memory. It's either 6 months of payments or 8 months. It could be 8 months. I think it's 6 months. If they don't make that 6-month or 8th-month payment and they cancel the insurance, it's a full chargeback. So if you were advanced 9 months, you just got crushed. So to me, that's horrible. Sika does it for 3 months. If you don't make 3 months, it's a full chargeback. SBLI, 3 months. If your client doesn't make a 3rd monthly payment and they cancel, it's a full chargeback. So like those carriers, I kind of avoid flat out right off the bat just for that. Now I'll give you another example. American Amicable and Royal Neighbors. They'll advance you 9 months. If your client only makes 1 payment and then they cancel, you still get to keep that 1 month's of earned money. So that's how the chargebacks work. And again, that's why when you have too many carriers, it can really end up being a big mess. Renewals. Guys, with final expense or whole life, renewals generally go out 10 years. And you'll see, so you get your advance money for the first year, and then year 2, 3, 4, and 5, there's usually a higher percentage of renewal. A lot of times it can be, with some carriers, it can actually be 5% or higher, depending on your contract level. Most carriers, it's a little bit less. But then when the product gets to year 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, it drops down to like 1%. So renewals aren't huge with whole life, and that's the ones that do pay the better renewals. I hate to say it, but they're not huge with whole life. But when you've got thousands of clients, and that's something I learned as a top producer, writing $400,000 of premium year after year after year when I was new, that actually built up. So for 10 years after I stopped selling at that level, I still got pretty decent renewals compared to what your typical agent gets. Guys, don't count on renewals with life insurance sales. They're just not that big. If you want renewals, maybe consider Medicare Advantage, but Medicare Advantage sales has its own issues, and Medicare supplements too. Now, let's talk about the upline. Guys, I'm telling you, if you've got the wrong upline, which is most managers, most recruiters are not that good, it's just not going to do much for you. And you're going to realize, especially if you get with a multi-level marketing company, these companies will get a new agent and tell them, hey, look, I know you're new, but start recruiting agents. So the next thing you know, they recruit you, and they're pretty new and they don't really know what they're doing. And now that's the person you're going to for help. So right off the bat, that's a nightmare. So I can tell you this, I've been in the insurance industry for over 17 years now. We started United Final Expense Services, and really it's UFES and life insurance sales over 10 years ago. So I have 10 years of experience training new agents. We have a system, and there's a lot of other good agencies. Do your due diligence, do your research, that have a similar system where, they've got agents, they get them in training, and they've got them selling in 3 to 4 weeks. So to me, that's one thing that's important, the training. Another is there's going to be times when you need someone to reach out to and ask for help. I make sure that we do that. My partner and I, we've got 2 of us that are there for our direct agents. So you've always got someone you can reach out. If for some reason you can't get a hold of him, you can get a hold of me. If for some reason you can't get a hold of me, you can get a hold of him. The one thing I do when I know I've got an agent who's just starting, they're in their first couple of weeks, when I see their name on the caller ID, I know, especially if it's during the day, right, during business hours, I know there's a good chance they're calling for help. A good upline will just answer the phone. A lot of negative things that I see online that I know that I've spoken with agents about is they'll have an upline, they'll be new, they'll be struggling. A couple weeks might go by, they don't have much business in. Maybe they've only got a sale or 2. And then the upline kind of looks at them like, geez, this guy's calling too much. And the next thing you know, they're annoyed at the agent and they're just not picking up the phone or returning the calls. So I see that a lot. Make sure you get with someone who will actually be there for you to train you. A good upline is going to make sure that your leads are compliant. They're going to have an in-house lead program, right? And like I said, I've been in the business 17 years. I've got 17 years of relationships with really decent lead vendors. And I know who the good ones are, and I know who the crap ones are. So to me, that's important too. And, let me bring up one other thing. Return on investment is very important, and that's the whole idea with the leads. So when I recommend a lead vendor that's outside, or, if we're not generating the leads for the agent for a specific reason, maybe they don't want to be on our appointments platform, but they still want to sell. So I will recommend good vendors. And I'll recommend vendors based on current agent experience, because the vendors tend to change too. Last thing, let me just go back with the training thing. The one thing about training is if the agency only has training videos, I find that is not good. Like, one of the things that I do with my agents is I ask them, hey, listen, you did the contracting now, right? I'm giving them assignments. I know they're in training. I know they're on my Zoom meetings. We do like a couple different Zoom meetings, training sessions every week. But I tell them a few days before you're ready to start, make sure you and I do a Zoom together. Let's talk. You're going to have a list of questions, and I want to do a few basic training things with you anyways. I want to make sure that the agent's prepared. And then once they start selling, whether they're doing face-to-face or whether they're doing telesales, I tell them, look, after a few days, I need you to send me a recording so that I can help you and give you some feedback. And basically what I'll do is, especially for a telesale, is I'll break down, I'll do it for face-to-face too, is I'll break down, I'll listen to the recording, I'll break it down in an email, what I heard that I loved, what I heard that needs to change. And the nice thing about having someone else help you with this is, if you're good, if you're a little bit talented and you can grasp the concepts, the basic concepts that I explained to the agent, what I heard, why I didn't like it, and you can change that, like, change happens immediately. Like, you become a completely different agent in your second week as to who you were even in your first week. So guys, hopefully you got something out of the video today. If you'd like a copy of the free new agent telesales super file, or the remote sales script for selling life insurance over the phone remotely, just email me at doug@ufesonline.com. If you'd like more information on working with me, whether you want to sell face-to-face or do life insurance telesales, just shoot me an email at that same address. As always, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. So get out there or get on that headset. But whatever happens, make sure that you do something good for someone else today. Happy hunting.